thing, we talked about this. We're gonna move our call to 9 instead of 9:30, just to make it a little bit earlier. Is that okay with everybody? So that moving forward, 9 o'clock. So please, if you're on a group or you know people that usually join us, please let them know it's 9 o'clock. So I'll leave the screen up showing that it's 9 o'clock all week, so people know. So 9 p.m. Eastern is what the new time is going to be moving forward on Wednesdays. Okay. And what we're going to do this year, I think for the time being at least, is we're going to go 30-minute calls. Obviously, you can reach out to me anytime you need it, but we'll go 30-minute calls. We'll try to keep the 30 minutes. If it goes longer, it goes longer. But we're gonna try to. I'm trying to hold the 30 minutes just to make sure other commitments are taken care of. So I'm gonna open up the call to everybody. Any questions or anything you want to talk about? Anything you have planned for the year? Anybody working on anything that they want to share with the group? I'm happy to cover it. If there's an area you want to talk about, we can do that for tonight. So any questions? You can all hear me, right? Oh, here we go. Wow. So there's a house down the street where I live that has been vacant ever since I moved to Toronto, just over 2 years. It looks like either the house was torn down and a new one built or just renovated. Anyways, it looks very new. The outside is almost complete, but if you look through the window, you can see that the inside is still pretty bare. I was wondering what steps would you take if this would be a house that you would like to buy and finish and flip? So, good question. Easiest thing to do is just leave something in the mailbox, just a letter, short that you're a new investor in the area and that you're interested in their property. If they're interested in selling, please reach out to this email or this phone number. It's the easiest thing to do. Because the house was just renovated, though, they might expect profit might be difficult. If they ran out of money, though, to renovate it, they might be looking to unload it. Have you seen a lot of activity, or is it just stopped? The activity has stopped, and that's what you've noticed. But what if no one is ever around? So how long have you seen no activity there, Devin? Since you've been there, no one's touched the property? 2 years, you've never seen any activity on the property? Never. Wow. Okay. Okay, so I'd still use the letter or the postcard, because if there's mail going there, there might be mail going there. Um, that would be a first step. You could talk to, if you see anybody outside, neighbors or something, you could talk to them if they might know. You could obviously do a title search on it to see who owns it and send them a letter direct. You could also do that because it's public record. You can do a title search and find out who owns it. But right now, I would just start with to see if someone's picking up the mail. I would just leave a postcard in there and see if you get a response. That sound good? It might be a situation where someone started the project, left it alone, and can afford to leave it like that. Hard to say. The fact that you've seen nothing in 2 years, obviously the project has stopped. But definitely, check it out. There might be an opportunity there. Good to keep your eyes open for stuff like that and see if somebody's a motivated seller, maybe. So start with the postcard and see what happens, okay? Good. Excellent. Good one. Anybody else? Any area you wanted to talk about? Anything? I know the new year has just started. We're just getting things rolling again. Um, any area you wanted to talk about? Not everybody at once. Okay. Um, all right. So it looks like this a lot of questions. Um, Well, we can talk a little bit about the market, what the market's doing, where it's going. What looks like is happening right now. Um, so the market looks like it's getting some push from the new. It's still on the rise a little bit. So obviously we know the average is around, it's less than 6, but we'll go 6. We know that this new program that the government has implemented has definitely um, helped uh, push the market up. We did see, and you know this, if we look back, in certain markets like Toronto, they started to dip a little bit, and now we're starting to see a little bit of a rise because of that new program the government has implemented with the 10% loan free. Now it's not, it's going to affect more the under $500,000 type properties. Half a million, 400,000, 300,000. We'll probably see a bump from them. The higher end, not as much, but there seems to be some push up in the market uh, from that program. Now, at some point, the money's going to run out, and at some point, it's going to go down. Now, when that is, it's very difficult to say. Uh, we could see, you know, 12, 24 months before that, something cools it off before, unless they decide to extend the amortization. Right now, they talked about moving it to 30, could go to 35 or even 40 years. This is all possible because what it looks like is interest rates are going to stay flat for a little while at least. So it's difficult to say what the market, what's going to keep the market, moving forward and moving up. Otherwise, we could see a flattening market over the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, and that's not a terrible thing that the market flattens out. They definitely are more would like to see that more than a drop in the market. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create this look. I'll give you an example. What they want to see, okay, what they want to see is they'd like to see this and kind of meet the average right here is what they'd like to see. What they're concerned about is a drop, and this is why when the market was rolling over, they implemented those things. I heard the Fort McMurray is a good place on wholesaling right now. I haven't heard that, but it's possible. I mean, they had a massive uh, crash, I would call it, dip. I think that Alberta got a little bit excited about the bump in the oil prices because of the conflict in Iran. That was short-lived. It's pulled back from there. So hard to say. Again, hard to say what's going to motivate oil prices, which is important to that area, unless there's a war or some kind of long-term problem with oil supply. Oil is going to, again, it's going to be more of a flat kind of movement. Inflation, for the most part, pushing it up. So I haven't heard anything about that area, but if you've heard that, wholesaling, I can imagine. I haven't looked at Fort McMurray in a while. Where'd you hear that from, or how did you hear that? Let's take a look. News. Oh, okay. Let's see. Just checking something. Give me 1 second. Hmm. I'm seeing some information that it's rebounding. It's on the mend. I don't know how how well it's done in the rebound. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me check. I'm trying to check the most available information on Fort McMurray. So a two-bedroom apartment, 168,000, dropped 44%. It's been down. It's down 44%, assuming from its peak. So 2000, let's see, 2014, the mean selling price, which is a great. So average selling price of two-bedroom apartment was 385 in 2014. Then it went to 339. Then 216, 217, 218, we see a drop from 267 to the current. It's around 217. So townhouses went from 500,000 in 2014 to half that, 256. Total selling price of mobile homes went from 462 to 273. Wow. Duplexes 650 to 499. Entry-level homes. So starter home went from 700,000, so 686,000 to 459. So definitely huge drops. Large homes, almost $1 million down to 660,000. So definitely a hard drop, which creates opportunity for sure. That's coming from Remax, Fort McMurray. Let me see if I can get you the. Hold on. 1 sec. I'll throw up the link. Just give me 1 sec. Now this is we'll have to check the date on that. I think it was mid last year, so that's the most current one I could see. Let me see one. The internet's a wonderful thing. If you have to be careful, obviously, it's the internet, right? But I mean, real estate is there's a ton of information on real estate. The U.S. actually has much more. They're much more on top of the real estate trends, and it's obviously a much larger market. But I find Canadian market, it's not as open to actual trends. I don't know if it's by design or not. Who knows? But nobody likes bad news, that's for sure. Let me get this link to you guys. Okay, I'm just gonna launch it from my computer to make sure it's the right one. Oh no, it didn't work. Hold on a second. One sec. Sorry about this. Set. And again. Okay, that worked. Try this. Hold on. Try that link right there. Now this says April 26th, 2019 is the most recent one actually I found on that. So there's some great data on here. You know, obviously 6 months have passed by. It's going to be different, but this one is pretty comprehensive in what it's sharing with us about the market. So obviously, you know, sites like CMHC. Let me see if I can find another good one that I really like. CMHC is a really great site. It's dated though, but it's still good. I mean, it's independent, so it's pretty accurate. Uh, if you have any questions, just type them in. I'm just bringing up different links. Sorry, folks, I'm having a hard time finding this other one that I really like. The link is moved or changed. Ah, see that? Canadian market. they they make it hard sometimes. Fine. Um, I'll have to find that one and get back to you on it. But anyways, there's lots of great sources. I've given a lot of the links out. Does anyone remember the link that I gave for local rents? Rent rates. Everybody got that link? That's a really great one. Does everybody have that one? Like that one? Check that one out. Okay, check that one out. That's a good one. CMHC, everyone has that one, right? Everybody has CMHC, right? .ca. That's a really good one. You check out the library on that one. Very slow. Oh, okay. CMHC is a good one. I'm trying to find that interactive map that I really like. For some reason, it looks like it's moved. Any questions, by the way? I'm sorry, I'm in between. I'm trying to find these links, some of these links that can give you an idea of the trends. Really, obviously, you can drill down, but there's some good, overall trends. I see CMHC is probably one of the best for sure to give you data um, on trends and what's actually happened in a particular market. So I would definitely use them. Hmm. Any other sites maybe that anybody else uses that they like or like to use? It would be expensive to change primary house to a business property. Well, you know, you have to keep something in mind. If you do that, Henry, and you change it to a property and put the asset under a corporation, the corporation owns it, and you can do that. There's a way to do that. There's a cost, but it's nominal to house value. The real dilemma is that your house now becomes a property of the business, the corporation, and if it's sold, there's capital gains. Whereas if you own the house yourself, Henry, and you sell it as a personal residence, you can then have a no tax paid on that sale. Does that make sense? So you're giving that up. You have to measure that and see if it's worth it to you to do that. So it seems like a good idea, um, but you have to do the math on it. Yeah, subject to tax on proceeds on profit, right? So, and in a corporation, there's lots you can write off, obviously, that you can't do in a regular home. But the big one is the tax credit. Gosh, if uh, they taxed you for selling your own home, I don't think anybody would own a home. I mean, it would be crazy. Uh, there'd be no upside. So I would say you can talk to your accountant about that, or you can measure that, see if it's worth it to you. I guess the idea is to rent it, right? Yeah, I would say check that out and measure it, see if it's worth it to you, because it might not be worth it at all. Any questions? Anybody else? Seem lean on the questions, folks. Are we still shaking off 2019? It's all right. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up then. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna wrap. It's okay. No big deal. It's okay. Um, we're gonna be adding. The new year started. We're doing events in Toronto and Calgary coming up. Sure, Montreal will be there at some point, and Ottawa and Vancouver. So we're gonna be adding new students in. Also gonna be possibly doing some other events in other places. Definitely will bring some students, so we'll see that the group will get larger as we ramp up for the new year. Okay, and that'll build more networking, more contacts for everybody. That being said, what we'll do is just remind everybody 9 o'clock is the start time next week. Please bring your questions, right? And for homework, I would tell you you know, evaluate 2 properties at least this week. If you could do one a day, that would be even better. But just keep moving along, keep moving forward, and send me your deals, and we can review them as a group. Devin, let us know what goes on with that house. If you get a response, and we'll go from there. Okay. All right. If you're good, type in yes or Y. There we go. Good stuff. All right, folks. I'm going to let everybody go. Have a great week. Keep pushing along. I'm with you. And let's make this a great year for us. My pleasure. My pleasure. All next week, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Let everybody know that you know that comes usually to the class. Okay? Have a great week, folks. And we'll see you next week.